Portland has a problem, a homeless problem. The question is, what do we do about it? Ending homelessness is a complicated issue. There are no easy answers, but there is a place to start. A changed life can start with something as simple as a meal.
Over the next 30 minutes with the Union Gospel Mission, we're going to explain to you the programs of the mission and how somebody can go from a camp to an entirely different life. Homelessness can end. And along the way, we're going to ask you to give. Every $2.17 that you give is going to provide a meal and care at the Union Gospel Mission. And we're going to show you the difference that that can make and why we start with something simple, like a meal. But we also know that at the Union Gospel Mission, we can't wait for people to walk through our doors. We had to go to them. And so in July of 2016, we launched the Search and Rescue Van. 5 days a week, day and night, we go out to the bushes and under the bridges and into the camps. And we provide some very basic things for those in need. But it also serves as the start of the relationship. So, in the context of the relationship is where things can change. What we've done is we've gone out in the van one night. We wanted to share with you what it's like to be hungry on the streets of Portland as winter begins to set in.
It's real rough, man. It's in the winter around here, it can rain for days on end. If you get wet or if your bedding gets wet and stuff like that, it stays wet, sometimes for days.
I went 2 or 3 days before without eating, just maybe a cookie or something. It just wears on you, all of it, until you just feel, exhausted. I definitely know what the word downtrodden means.
Like, the thing that people don't realize is how much of a struggle it is. Like, it's not like I don't ever think about going back to school or I don't think about trying to get a job or things like that. Like, they're on my mind every day. But when it's a struggle just to, get water or have clean clothes or not look like you're dirty or take a shower or to eat, it's been a bad day.
I've been out in the snow. When we had the ice storm in '93, I believe it was, I got frostbit. Lost my foot.
Have you ever been out on the streets during the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas? What's that like?
Terrible. I miss my family. I miss my son and my daughter. But life goes on.
So as you can tell, the need here in Portland is real. In fact, it's estimated that 1,600 people are unsheltered on any given night here in Portland. So how do you get somebody from that condition into a place where their life can totally change? What we found at the Union Gospel Mission is it usually starts with something simple, which leads to a relationship with our team and our staff, and from there we work on the long term. But it does start with something simple, like a meal, and that's what we're asking you to provide. $2.17 is what it takes to provide one meal and care here at the Union Gospel Mission. So as we go into the holidays, we're asking you to make it a holiday without hunger. Your gift right now to the number that is on your screen or to the website that is also listed on your screen, that's how you can make your gift and how you can take somebody who is on the streets or in a camp and start that process of changing their life. And it does work. We're going to share now John's story. John is somebody who came here to the Union Gospel Mission during the holidays, hungry and in need of a meal. Does it work? Does providing a meal lead to hope? As you listen to John's story, you're going to find out, yes, it does.
You're pretty miserable when you're on the streets. You have nowhere to go. It's raining, it's snowing, there's snow on the ground. You're under a bridge. You're cold, just miserable, hungry. I kept hearing people mention Union Gospel Mission. You should try that out. So I stopped by for Christmas dinner. So I ate dinner here, and the next day I walked in, I said, sign me up. I made a big decision of my life to go ahead and do a program because everything I was doing in the past just wasn't working out. I was an alcoholic for quite a bit of time. So every job I got just wouldn't work out. Plus I was living with my dad, kind of made it easy. But when he died, I decided to try other places. And I went to Spokane, Washington. In Spokane, my sister lived there. I got a good job cutting down trees and stuff like that, but my alcoholism kept me from keeping that good job. So she kicked me out. It was in the middle of wintertime, and it was cold. It was really cold, and I was homeless. When I had that first meal, I never thought that I would see the place that would actually help me. I never knew I could be like this in my life. I've been addicted since I was 13 years old. So it's a blessing to feel sober and knowing that I can live this way. And some people believe that once you're homeless, you're stuck being homeless. But I believe if you work on it and you seek the right help at the right places, such as Union Gospel Mission, that you can accomplish anything. And knowing that one day when I get out in the real world again, that I could be a better man. That's what I strive for as I'm here in the Union Gospel Mission.
See, so this is why we ask you to support what happens here at the Union Gospel Mission. Hope does begin with a meal, the meal that is provided by people like you for $2.17. There's a number on your screen. We are asking you to call that and provide as many meals as you possibly can. $54, for instance, that's going to feed 25 people. But it doesn't keep them on the streets. In fact, it does the opposite. So here, as we approach the holidays, we want to make it a holiday without hunger. So again, please call the number. Operators are there. They'll take your call. You can also go online. There's a website that you can give as well. But what we're trying to do is, through the course of this program, show you that homelessness can end. That the work that happens here at the Union Gospel Mission can take somebody that is used to taking and turn them into somebody who is giving. But it has to start someplace, and that someplace is typically when they walk in, like John did, looking for a meal that somebody provided for $2.17. So your $2.17 turns into a meal. The meal turns into hope for somebody like John. And as we talked about at the beginning of the program as well, our ultimate goal is to get somebody off the streets and into a productive part of society. So we're going to pick up the conversation on that with a very special guest. As you call this number, please keep watching, keep listening. Please be able to give so that people like John can find the hope that begins with a meal. So Bill, you can't drive through Portland and not see the homeless camps.
Right.
So let's just kind of deal with that.
Yeah.
How do we get somebody out of a homeless camp and productive in society?
Right. First of all, few people living in the homeless camps are already working. That's good news. A lot of them aren't. And, you know, the ancient wisdom says if a person doesn't work, neither shall they eat. And so it's a legitimate question to say, is it enabling? How are you doing it? Just by bringing them food doesn't solve the problem. Actually, it does if it's done this way. Food is part of caring for people, and that's the first step for us. We provide care. And then that allows us to connect to people and build trust and get to know them by name. And that leads to the point where we can coach them and ultimately coach them out of the homeless camp into a productive life. This doesn't take place instantly. A lot of people in the homeless camp can't work. So the Bible doesn't really apply to them where it says if a person will not work, neither shall they eat. They cannot work. We want to get them to the point where they can and will engage in a responsible life, being productive. And that is the most satisfying life. So we have a lot of impetus to want to care for people, connect to people, and coach people out of homelessness. Nobody wants to see them stay out on the streets or in homeless camps around the city. So that's exactly what we want to do.
See, and that's the opposite of enabling. If somebody thinks this is an enabling kind of an organization,
right,
this is really the opposite of that.
Yeah, you know, some organizations are. If you're providing something that they can do for themselves, you're enabling them. But if you're helping a person where they can't help themselves, they need to get up and over that hump. then you're not enabling, you're truly helping. And we are not enabling people. We're caring for them, we're connecting to them, we're coaching them, and then empowering them to get out of homelessness.
So the meals that are provided, about 700 meals every
Yes,
day,
yeah.
that our friends are providing at $2.17 a
Right.
piece. And by the way, we are asking you to call the number on your screen or to go online and make a gift, because every $2.17 starts that process, the care part
Right.
of that. And that's what we're asking you to call and to give. Now, when you do give, when you do call that number and you make your gift, what that results in is a meal and care that happens down here and in the rescue van and all the rest. So what happens is every day people line up along this street right here, and they will come in looking for a meal. We provide that meal. So in order for you to understand a little bit more about what they feel, what they think, what's it like to be hungry, especially during the winter months, we went inside during one of our times when we were feeding people, and we just asked a few of them, what's it like to be hungry on the streets of Portland? Listen to this. How long have you gone without eating before? Like, what's the longest length of time that you've gone without a meal?
I've gone like 4 days, literally 4 days, because I did not know about the sources here.
When you're homeless out here in Portland, you got to do what you can do to kind of make the rounds and get some food into you.
How important are the meals?
They're very important because you can get up to 3 meals a day, and you get clothing here too.
Tell me what that feels like to be hungry and to come here and get something to eat.
Physically, it's a weakening thing, and that's when it starts to play on your mental health state, where it starts to feel like, wow, nothing good is happening, and that's when it starts to drag and the slow effects start to come on, and that's when it starts to hurt, when the hunger sets in.
I've never been like this, so it's hard being homeless. It's hard struggling to find somewhere to eat, somewhere to go, having nothing, hard sleeping on the concrete, hard not having blankets, hard not having clothing, hard not having, food, especially food.
It kind of takes your hope away.
Yes, it does. It definitely dashes your hope, And I'm thankful for all that's here, and I know I'll come out of it eventually with good.
When you call the number on your screen and you provide $2.17, you provide a meal and care. But don't think of that meal as a meal. Think of it as a domino. Now, what's a domino have to do with providing meals and taking somebody from the streets to a whole new life? Let me explain. The physics of a domino chain reaction are pretty incredible. When you line up a domino and you want to set off a chain reaction, you tip the first domino into the second domino, and the energy created by that domino tipping creates enough energy that the second domino can be 1.5 times the size of the first domino. In other words, the chain reaction starts with something small and creates enough energy to do something bigger. So the second domino now tips into the third domino, which is 1.5 times its size, into the next domino 1.5 times its size, into the next domino 1.5 times its size, and on it goes. And by the 29th domino, it's the height of the Empire State Building. In other words, when you start small, it can turn into something big. So the $2.17 that you provide, you might think, it's just a meal. But what happens is that meal means that somebody cares. And when somebody who's hungry sees that somebody cares, well, then they think, well, maybe there's other things that can happen in my life. And so then they ask about our recovery program, and then they ask about our GED programs, and then they ask about all these other programs that we have. And so somebody who walks through our doors hungry, gets a meal, and then turns into a total life change, well, that's the value and what happens when you tip the first domino into the next domino and a life is changed. So that's what the $2.17 can do. We caught up with a woman named Danielle. Danielle is somebody who needed a meal. And as you listen to her story, we want you to realize that somebody provided the gift, the $2.17, that turned into a meal, and that meal turned into a changed life.
Being on the street, basic things like food, you just do whatever it takes to get it without thinking too much about it or feeling too much about it. My My drug use started at around 13, 14. Started with alcohol and marijuana and meth at 14 and just anything I could find, just searching. And by the time I was 18, I was injecting heroin regularly. And so before I came to the mission, I was just strung out, had been living in a car off and on, getting food out of trash cans, eating pizza, peeling stuff off of pizza and eating it out of the trash can. And I just randomly kind of sat down outside of the mission next to a homeless woman, and I was asking her about resources because I was starving, lonely, depressed, strung out, didn't know what to do. And she was like, the mission might be able to help you. And I didn't even know what a mission was at that point. And so I got up and I went inside and I talked to the gentleman at the front desk, and he asked me if I wanted to go eat lunch. And I was starving, and so I said yes. And so I went back and I made a huge sandwich. I was just so overwhelmed by how warm and welcoming they were. Even though I did look gaunt and dirty, they didn't make me feel gaunt or dirty. They were just really friendly. They wanted to help me, and even after I poured out my heart and told them, that I was addicted to drugs and all these terrible things, they still wanted to help me. And so that was just really powerful for me. So after I ate that sandwich and I learned about the program, it was within the first few days of just being within the program that a key woman in my story, her name is Cheryl, she just came in to check on me, see how I was doing. She just looked me deep into my eyes and told me that God loved me. And I didn't know that I needed to hear that, but it just overwhelmed me and broke something inside of me, and I just started crying. And so that was when I really knew that there was something different here. And so I decided to stay, and I stayed for 13 months. It was really important to me, or really key in my recovery, that I had a safe place where everything was taken care of. And so I didn't have to worry about rent. I didn't have to worry about where my clothes or my food were gonna come from. All of those things were cared for me. And so my basic survival needs were met. And so that, calmed me down to a place where I could be open to, to really healing my trauma and my past and things like that. And because of that, I can reach out to other people, and I can be real with other people, and I can have real relationship, which is something that I didn't have before. I got married in 2013, and then we had our first child in 2016, and then we just had a baby girl almost 4 months ago. And so to be able to see my beautiful family now is something that I never thought that I would have. Even in my addiction, it was something that I wanted, that I didn't believe that I deserved and didn't think I would ever get. And so to have my beautiful family now is just amazing.
Well, like you just heard with Danielle, hope begins with a meal. And that hope that begins with a meal can end when homelessness ends, like it did for Danielle. The cost to provide a meal here at the Union Gospel Mission is just $2.17. That's it, $2.17. So we're asking you to call the number on your screen, and you can make it a holiday without hunger here at the Union Gospel Mission and on the streets of Portland. So please call the number. Also, you can go online and make your gift, but the end result of your gift is that somebody gets fed, and we believe that homelessness can end. Now, we're here in the kitchen of the Union Gospel Mission. This is where the meals get prepared, 700 meals every single day. That's, on average, how many meals we serve. And there's a person in charge of making sure all those meals happen. Her name is Lori, and she's going to join us here now. So, Lori, I think the biggest question people have if we're asking them to give $2.17 is, how do you do it for only $2.17?
Well, it starts with some generous donations from businesses like Cisco, Market of Choice, Krispy Kreme, Fred Meyer, but the main part of our source comes from donors, the donors that donate money to help us make up for whatever is not donated.
And it's a good meal. This is not some kind of thrown together meal. You take a lot of care. when you put these meals together, they're really, really good meals.
Yeah, we try to make them as nutritious as possible, including vegetables, a protein, a carb. They get dessert. When we have breakfast, they get orange juice and milk, coffee. They're well-rounded meals. I do not want to serve somebody something that I would not want to eat myself.
And it does come back to dignity. I mean, it just simply comes back to a human being walks through the doors hungry. And when we provide that meal, it, in many cases, is the first step toward changing a life. And I know that's the case with you. So do you mind sharing a little bit of your own story? Because you came here a while back, but still in the same position of being desperate and hungry and needing a new life.
Sure. Yeah, about 26 years ago, I came to the front doors of the mission. I was addicted to crack. I had an alcohol problem. I had gotten involved in prostitution. I had lost all connection with my family, and I was desperate. That was a day that I don't ever want to have again, but it's a day that I don't ever want to forget because I would never want to go back there. So coming here, feeling loved, feeling valued, getting the help I needed to overcome those things that led me to the drinking and the drugging, that's what I learned here. And the biggest part of that was learning about Jesus Christ and his saving power in my life.
See, this is why we ask you to give. $2.17 doesn't enable somebody who's homeless. It provides the spark, the hope that can lead to a radically different life. So that number on your screen, incredibly important. We are asking you to call that not later, but now. And for every $2.17 you give, you are providing a meal that can lead to that kind of life change. So at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want homelessness to end, and that's what your gift does. So again, please call the number on your screen. We're running out of time here on the program. You can also go online, of course, and make your gift. We sure appreciate it as you make it a holiday without hunger. Now, the other thing that we want to talk about before the program ends is the fact that we want to prevent homelessness before it even happens. There are countless numbers of people that live on the edge every month. Do I pay my light bill or do I eat? And so here at the Union Gospel Mission, we started a food box outreach. Recently, I had a chance to be here for one of our distributions. We talked to some of those who kind of live on that edge and how come they came here to get that food box provided by people such as yourself. Kristen, you're here to get a food box, so I just want to know the background. Why do you need a food box?
Well, I'm on medical leave right now due to having some diabetic issues. And so my food stamps didn't go as far as they normally go, so I had to get some help this month.
Have you been here before?
This is my second time. In like 3 months, I've been off work for, off and on for 4 months, working and not working.
So what does the food box, I mean, it's full of a bunch of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So what will that mean for you? How long will that last you?
Well, there's 3 of us, and so it'll last us, I'll make like a big pot of stew or a big pot of spaghetti, and it'll last us 2 or 3 days.
And without that food box, I'd imagine a little skimpier.
Well, yes, it'll be a lot skimpier.
Does it bring any hope to know that you can come here?
Yes. Actually puts a smile on my face and makes a better day.
So George, you're here for a food box today. What does the food box mean to you?
It means staples, for, I can buy breakfast and stuff. I don't have a lot of money. See, so I use this to fill in.
Have you ever gone hungry without a food box?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I couldn't figure out where to go, until about 3 weeks ago, I guess, when I found out that the mission has it down here. So I've been a regular Friday visitor.
So the food box is extremely important.
Oh, it is. Oh, it certainly is, yeah. There's sometimes there's meat in there that I don't have the money to get that for sure, But there's other things, macaroni and cheese, not hard to make, and a lot of nice, good canned stuff. Artichoke hearts and mixed vegetables, bread too, whole wheat bread. That's really good too.
Kind of helps you make ends meet.
It does. It really does. Yeah. Oh, it does. I swear to that.
Over the last half hour, you've seen the work of the Union Gospel Mission. From the search and rescue van to our Life Change program to our food box program, you've seen how we work so that we end homelessness. We don't enable. What we do is provide life change. And the starting point for that is what you're providing with your gift right now. $2.17 is what it takes to provide a meal and care this holiday season, and we are almost out of time. So please don't delay any longer. There's a phone number on your screen. We're asking you to call that. You can also go online to make your gift that way. But the holidays are coming. The weather does get nasty here in Portland. And what we want to do is enter into those situations and provide real hope. Hope that begins with a meal. So again, please call, please go online, and as you give to the Union Gospel Mission, you will make it a holiday without hunger.
I think the hardest part about it was spending the holidays out in the streets and away from family, and those cold nights without, any shelter, just trying to survive.
You're constantly thinking about your life, how you got there. Your body's aching. You can almost feel your body losing weight as you walk.
You get weak. You get irritable. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything because your body doesn't have that energy or strength to even go and get anything.
When you're really hungry like that, when you're on the streets and you don't have any food, you sort of become sort of dizzy and delirious, and you're not really making the right choices.
I looked down and I seen a McDonald's bag, and it was a couple of packs of ketchup unopened. I ate it, and I was so happy just to have that. And that's when I finally noticed that this is bad.
And that was when I decided, it's time to do something.
For people like these, Union Gospel Mission Portland is not only a lifeline, it's a life changer. Because coming in for a hot meal is often the beginning of a process that leads to a total life transformation off the streets of Portland. At just $2.17 for a meal and care this holiday season, how many meals can you provide? Our time is up, so please call now or give online. Your gift really does make a difference, because your gift changes lives.
When I first walked into the mission, I had a smile on my face because I was very grateful of where I was. It was very freeing, I guess the best way I can put it, because it's like your basic needs are met.
To be able to eat at a table that someone prepared for me was a feeling that I've never ever experienced before in my life. To have someone with love do something for me that delicious, so welcoming, so loving, was just a game changer for me.
I mean, this place changed my life dramatically. I can't put into words like how grateful that I truly am in this place.
I went back to school. I finished my bachelor's degree, but that was through the hope that I got through the mission.
I don't ever want to have to come back to one of these places again. I wanted to go uphill from here, uphill, all the way up. I'm going up.
My body's stronger, my mind is stronger. I don't miss any meals. So yeah, it's more than food, it's life.
That was when it finally hit us that we were not going to be hungry again, and we weren't going to be outside anymore, that we were home. I mean, hope definitely does begin with a meal.